and I am so excited to welcome you all to this Philippine Distributors Training. And as you have heard, 3rd of November is the date to remember, okay? That is the date when we can onboard people. This is so exciting because I know what we can do in the Philippines with LifeVantage. So originally I come from the Philippines. I've lived in Australia for over 40 years. And so I've been in network marketing for 12 years. I had the opportunity to actually go and live with my kids for a year and build my previous company. And so I know, the passion of people, the hard work of people, the dedication of people. And so LifeVantage in the Philippines is going to be one of those fastest growing market. And so I'm so glad that you're looking at this training because, we've invited 3 of the very important executives in US to talk to us about the, why LifeVantage products, why LifeVantage is a company, and also our digital, exciting app and whatever else updates that we get from them. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Brian Dixon. I tell people, I wasn't in the looking zone 2 years ago. I wasn't really looking for another home. I was a diamond director in that. But I saw Dr. Dixon post on social media in July 2019 that he moved to LifeVantage as the senior vice president for product and research development. And I have so much respect for this guy because he has done so much. And, coming to LifeVantage, what he was able to create in the last 2 years is just so big. I'm telling you that. So today we have the honor to hear from Dr. Brian Dixon. Where are we? Okay, so Dr. Brian Dixon is the Senior Vice President for Product and Research Development. Dr. Brian, I am so glad that you're here. I know a lot of people in the Philippines, really would love to hear from you today. And so I'd hand it over to you now.
Josie, thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me to be here. It's such a privilege and it's so great to see you. So excited about what's happening in the Philippines and our ramp up to get there. But yeah, I have some slides to share with you all and kind of walk you through, like Josie said, why I think our products are just so unbelievable and why they're so different than anything else in the marketplace. But Josie reminded me of something not that long ago. So I don't know, maybe people were here and they saw this, but she reminded me of an entrance that I made at a big convention that we had. So maybe you recognize the crazy guy riding down the stairs in the stadium on a bicycle. Anyway, that was a great memory, Josie. Thanks for reminding me of it. But what I specifically want to talk about today is disruptive innovation, and especially disruptive innovation in nutrition. So let's first talk about, well, what is disruptive innovation? And just in case you're not familiar, disruptive innovation is an innovation that creates an entirely new market and eventually disrupts an existing market, displacing even the largest, most well-established market-leading companies and their products. So let's talk about some examples of where this has happened in the past. I mean, think about how we're all making phone calls now. We're not tied to cords anymore. I used to have a long cord on my phone and run it into my bedroom to speak on the phone. And then with the invention of cellular phones, right, we were able to literally cut the cord. Or think about horse and buggy. That's how we used to get around. But now who is really riding horses and buggies anymore to get anywhere? So with the invention of the car, it really put the buggy business out of business. And who knows, one day we'll probably all be riding around in self-driving electric cars. Think about when we used to have to go to the library to have to do research. I mean, think about what the internet has done to even just libraries, the encyclopedia business, just a completely disruptive technology. Or how about film photography? How many of us are still taking photos with film? It does still exist, even as a novelty. There's some new kind of new age Polaroid, excuse me, Polaroid cameras that have come around. But digital photography is just about what everybody's using these days. And not just cell phones, but think about what the iPhone has done to the cell phone business. I mean, now we all expect to be able to browse the internet, to be able to listen to music and make calls with our digital devices. Unbelievable what the iPhone's done. Or even think about the gig economy and where we are today. Think about what Uber and Lyft have done to the taxi business, or think about what Airbnb or VRBO or those other competitors have done to the hotel business. Think about what direct selling has done to retail. I mean, these gig economies have just completely disrupted many different marketplaces. Think about how we're even meeting today. I mean, the thought of just utilizing Zoom every day for multiple meetings was just unheard of a couple years ago, but now it's so common and we all sit through so many different virtual presentations. But what about disruptive innovation in nutrition? I mean, have you ever thought about this? What's been going on in the nutrition space? Well, to maybe couch that just a little bit, I want to ask you this question. And do you know when the last three essential vitamins were discovered, or even what they were? Well, how about vitamin K, discovered in 1939? I mean, how many years ago was that? Folate, discovered in 1941. And vitamin B12 was discovered in 1948. The last vitamin to be discovered was almost in 1950. So if you think about this, we have known everything the human body needs to function for the last 70 to 80 years. I would argue there hasn't been a whole lot of innovative disruption in the nutrition space. What a lot of companies are doing is coming up with new marketing messages to be able to spin a really old message, right? A 70 to 80-year-old message that we need to take vitamins and minerals. But to think about this even further, like I said, there really hasn't been any innovation in nutrition until recently, and especially what LifeVantage has been doing. And this notion is known as nutrigenomics. So this is really utilizing nutrition to turn on health promoting genes. So, we have tens of thousands of genes inside of our DNA locked up inside of every single cell in our body. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of those genes that we can unlock when we use the right nutrients in the right ratios to turn on these genes. And it's an extraordinary process. And these genes are so important to our health. They have names like survival genes, anti-stress genes, antioxidant genes, detoxification genes, anti-aging genes. I mean, who doesn't want to look a little bit younger? So just those names alone should illustrate how important these genes are to our health. But when we're talking about nutrigenomics, really we're talking about three different things. So we're talking about these nutrients that can unlock this gene activation. And the way that these nutrients are doing that is through activating various cell signaling pathways inside of our body. And these cell signaling pathways are nothing more than our cell's internal communication system. So their job is to communicate within the cell and between other cells in our body exactly what's going on. And that leads our cells to adapt and respond to whatever environment it may be sensing. So I'm going to talk about nutrigenomics, but as I get into nutrigenomics, I want to ask you this question. Do you need a brain to be intelligence? Is this about what? A pound, 1.5 kilo organ on top of our shoulders. Is that where intelligence lies? Or does intelligence lie somewhere else? And to do this, I love to look at definitions. And so the definition of intelligence is this ability to learn or understand things. And I think most of us would associate that first part of the definition as intelligence as we traditionally think about it. Somebody who's really good in school, somebody who excels at their job. But what's so intriguing to me is the second part of the definition, and this is that ability to deal with new or difficult situations. Okay, so keep that second part of this definition in the back of your minds as we go through this. I'm going to talk about some different organisms and kind of highlight the intelligence that these different organisms have, whether they have no brain at all, a primitive brain, or even really advanced brains. So, bacteria, let's start here. A single celled organism that is far more successful on the face of this earth than human beings have been. So if we took all the bacteria on the face of this earth and put it on one side of a scale, put all the human beings on the other side of the scale, the weight of those bacteria would far outweigh what humans weigh on this earth. They're single celled and they clearly do not have a brain. What about seeds? They don't have a brain, or plants. We put a seed in the ground, and how do those roots know to grow down and those leaves to grow up? Ants. So ants are insects, and insects do have primitive brains, but they do highly intelligent behavior, right? For example, how do ants know to live in this incredibly complex social network? How do they know how to follow trails to find food or water? What if we highlight fish? How do fish know to swim in schools? How do they know to look for food? Dogs. If you've ever played with a dog, how do dogs know how to fetch? Horses. Most mammals on the face of this earth, not humans, but most mammals on the face of this earth can walk just a few minutes after they're born. So are we saying that horses are smarter than humans? Or is there some sort of intelligence that's going on here? I mean, we can even think about ourselves with these highly advanced and complicated brains. You know, if we get a small little paper cut on our finger, how does that cut know how to heal? And it turns out to be this highly coordinated process that's happening really localized in those skin cells. It also involves our immune system. So how does all of this coordination go on to ultimately heal that wound? Think about yourself sitting here. Are you thinking about all the blood that's going through your veins and arteries? Are you thinking about all the nerve impulses that are shooting up and down your nerves? Are you thinking about how you're breathing? You probably weren't until I just said it. Are you thinking about digesting your last meal? Think about your bones and your muscles. If you were fortunate enough to get a workout in today, are you thinking about those bones remodeling themselves and building themselves back stronger? The same with your muscles. Are you thinking about actually building up those muscles? Well, I would argue we're not thinking about them in our brain, and there's something else that's happening someplace else in all of these cells that we've highlighted today. So again, do we really need a brain to be intelligent, or might intelligence kind of reside somewhere else inside of the cell? So what do all of these things have in common? You know, if you were to ask me, what would you call it? Would you call it luck? Would you call it skill? Adaptation? Maybe. I think we're getting a little bit closer. If you were to ask me, I would call it instinct. These cells, these tissues, these organs just know how to do these things. Okay. And this instinct resides in our DNA and our genes. Okay. But our DNA and genes are buried pretty deep inside of our cells. So, how do we unlock this potential or this instinct? Well, I think of DNA as being nothing more than a blueprint, just like this blueprint on the screen. There's a ton of information here, but this blueprint cannot build the house, right? It takes some very skilled workers to be able to read this blueprint and then are able to direct other workers to actually build that house. So then we have to ask the question, if DNA is just the information, who are the workers in the cell that are reading that DNA and directing what's going on? And that answer is proteins, and we can even say enzymes as well. So proteins and enzymes are really the things inside of the cell that are doing the work. So then we have to ask the question, okay, well, who's the boss inside of the cell? Who's directing the workers to do their jobs? And it turns out to be this thing, this communication network that we call cellular signaling. And to say it even more appropriately, it's coordinated cellular signaling that happens inside of the cell. It's not an accidental thing that's happening. It's this highly advanced process where our cells are communicating, like I said, internally or with cells throughout our bodies. But it's nothing more than going from A to B to C to D, right? So these different proteins are telling each other kind of what to do, where to go, and then eventually something will happen inside of the cell. So here is an actual schematic of a cell signaling pathway. And this is just one of hundreds or maybe even thousands of cell signaling pathways that are inside of our bodies. But this same sequence of events is happening. So something happens that activates a protein. So we'll call it protein A. Protein A tells protein B, tells protein C, tells protein D, and then something happens inside of the cell. Okay. So what is initiating this cellular signaling? What activates that protein A inside of our bodies? And these things are called receptors. And receptors are just these little sensing molecules that wait for the right signal to come along and activate it so that chain of events can happen. They are very specific in how they work. So that signaling molecule has to be really specific to bind into that receptor or sensing molecule. And it's a lot like a lock and a key. So just like the keys to my front door won't open your front door or vice versa, the same thing is happening inside of our cells. Not all signaling molecules activate all receptors. So a lot of specificity that's happening here. And so at the top of this schematic, you can see those gray triangles or gray circles. These are those signaling molecules that can activate the receptors so that ultimately something happens inside of the cell. But that's a lot of science, I know. A simple way that I like to look at it is nothing more than dominoes, right? So we can push over dominoes, and then usually people who set these things up love for a great grand finale to happen. So there's some terminal consequence, if you will, that happens after you've pushed over these dominoes. So I'm going to show you a little video that kind of illustrates this. But watch how just one tiny little input, that finger knocking over one domino, will ultimately knock over all of these dominoes. So this is really very analogous to what's happening inside of our cells. But where the real power of being able to activate these cell signaling pathways comes from is there can be signal amplification. Like you just saw, one domino can knock over those probably tens of thousands of dominoes that were there. But here's another short little video that illustrates this. So this first domino that this gentleman's going to knock over weighs just a couple of grams. And ultimately, it's going to knock over that last domino that weighs about 50 kilograms. Right? It's amazing. So with these cell signaling pathways, there can be this signal amplification. I could probably give you a couple of real world scenarios that might resonate a little more with you. But, if I were to inject testosterone inside of my body, go to the gym, lift big, heavy weights, I would be able to put on unphysiological amounts of muscle. Or also think we give women tiny little birth control pills, and we can completely remodel their reproductive physiology. So these really small inputs, because of that signal amplification that goes on inside of the cell, can have massive physiological benefits or consequences to the cell. So if we talk about these cell signaling pathways, ultimately, what is their purpose? Why are they even there? And if you remember that second part of that definition of intelligence, right? It's to react and respond to whatever internal or external environment that the cell might be experiencing. This is exactly what's coordinating this cellular instinct. And we can leverage this to our advantage by being able to ultimately activate these health promoting systems and genes inside of our bodies. And it literally doesn't matter which cell signaling pathway we look at, they all are basically working in this same regard. So this is nutrigenomics, utilizing the right nutrients in the right combination to activate these cell signaling pathways to turn on these very important health promoting genes to help keep us as healthy as humanly possible. And this is exactly how LifeVantage is disrupting in human nutrition. You will see this concept of nutrigenomics sprinkled in throughout our entire product line. So whether it's our skincare products, we are leveraging nutrigenomics to make our skin as healthy and as young looking as possible. And then our core product line, what we call our Protandem family of products, are all based on this notion of nutrigenomics. And this is why you'll see the tagline, flip the switch, feel better, and do more. And so by flipping the switch, we're talking about that activation and flipping the switches on these health promoting genes to help us support our body really from the inside out. And I should say too, before I sign off and hand it back over to Josie, you know, LifeVantage was originally founded in 2013 on this entire premise of nutrigenomics. And in fact, in 2003, the term nutrigenomics hadn't even been coined yet. So LifeVantage is the pioneers in this nutrigenomic space and was literally doing it before there was actually a word for it. So this is how innovative and just pioneering LifeVantage is. And I hope that gives you just a quick little snapshot of the power of harnessing the power within our bodies by unlocking it with nutrition can have these massive health consequences for people who are taking our products. So with that, Josie, I'll hand it back over to you.
Well, Dr. Brian Dixon, you know what, I was expecting something else, but what you have presented today has really made me feel more confident that we don't have any competition in the Philippines. So guys, if you learn something and you love that, drop an emoji or a 1 in the chat, because I know that what Dr. Dixon has presented today will blow people's mind for sure. So I really appreciate you, Brian. Really thank you for being here today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So have a great weekend. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Josie. You have a wonderful weekend as well. And thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us this evening, or this morning, I should say.
Thank you. Thanks, so
Josie.
much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, so our next speaker is Taylor Worry, who will talk about LifeVantage as a company. So we heard about the difference of LifeVantage products. And now we're going to learn from Taylor, who is the son of Eric Worre. We all know Eric Worre, right? Very, very famous guy. And so when I went to America in 2019, I had the opportunity to meet Taylor in person with 6 of my friends. And so he sat down with us. So I transitioned to LifeVantage over 2 years ago. And one of the reasons why I decided, okay, well, you know, I was a diamond director. And so for me to be able to switch to another company, it's good that they have this red carpet program. So I know in the Philippines, there's a lot of network marketers that are super, super successful. And maybe, you never know, they could be looking for something else. So today we have the very famous Taylor, and I'm looking for him. So let's do it. And so Taylor is the director of New Leaders Experience. He is, let me see, Taylor. Sorry about this, guys. Technology. All right, let me just spotlight. All right. So Taylor lives in the US, obviously. He is a dad of 6. Oh my goodness. And guys, this gentleman here grew up in the network marketing industry. So he knows exactly, you know, how many companies are out there. And so I said to Taylor, please come to this training today and share with our audience, you know, why you have chosen to partner with LifeVantage as well. So thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. How's everybody doing? What's going on? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's good to see all of you. I am excited about this new market launch. Drop your favorite emoji into the chat if you're excited about this new market launch. If you're going to have a little piece of this Philippine pie, I think it's just going to be so amazing. The leaders and the stories that are going to come out in 2022. The lives that are going to be changed over the next 12 months. And it's all starting right now. It's all starting right with this call. And I'm just so proud of every single one of you for being here. Dr. Brian Dixon, I don't know if you're still on, but if you are, brother, just know you are so incredible. You are so talented. You bring so much value to this family. For those of you that don't know, Dr. Brian Dixon just had a birthday the other day. He just celebrated a 5-year anniversary with his amazing wife. So make sure to send him some birthday love and some well wishes. Just an amazing man. He really is in so many ways. I'm like sandwiched between greatness right now. I'm so excited because you get Cabal after me. I'm like, okay. But for real, you guys, I've spent my whole life in the space. Some of you have probably heard me tell this before. But when I was looking to join my next company, which inevitably ended up becoming LifeVantage, just under 4 years ago, I had a very strict list of criteria. And that list of criteria was very important. And so if there's anyone out there that's looking to make a decision, that's looking at this, or you're in the Philippines and you're thinking about this, I would judge my list of criteria as your list. I would take my list and make it your list. Because I don't think there's anything stronger than this. So I think Dr. Brian Dixon covered the first thing on my list. I have 5 things on my list. So if you're taking notes, there's 5 things. The first thing that I needed was product strength. Dr. Brian Dixon talked about the product strength, which is amazing. But one thing that I want to talk about in a little bit different mindset is a business mindset in regards to these products. One thing that I loved about the business side of these products is that this is the first company in my entire life that I have been able to represent where you do not need a personal testimonial in order to share these products successfully. So many companies that I have represented in the past, you needed to be able to say, it did this for me, or it did this for my mom, or it did this for my sister. At LifeVantage, you have clinical, factual proof that shows what these products will do for you. It's unbelievable. The second thing that I needed was corporate structure, because I don't care how good your products are. If the corporate team that is running your company is not strong enough to take you into the future, it doesn't matter. And I think someone might have hopped on real quick. So all that to say is what I saw at LifeVantage is that between the top 20 executives, there is over 400 years of combined network marketing experience. These men and women have dedicated their lives to the network marketing space. They're not coming from big business or from hedge funds or whatever it might be. The executives at LifeVantage have dedicated their lives. You take a person like Justin Rose, our Chief Sales and Marketing Officer. Justin Rose has been in the space for over 25 years and worked with 3 different companies that have gone on to be billion-dollar-a-year companies. Companies like Shackley, companies like Melaleuca. I mean, unbelievable giants in the space that he has represented. Dr. Brian Dixon has been in this space for well over a decade and represented an amazing companies within this space. Chose to come to LifeVantage because he said, I couldn't miss out on this sweet spot. I couldn't miss out on this opportunity. As important it is to have a field that is as strong. I believe that the corporate structure needs to be equally as strong. And the one thing that I love about having a corporate structure that is so network marketing minded is that they have given so much of a voice to the field. Know that at LifeVantage, your voice matters. Know that at LifeVantage, you are listened to, you are heard. You are not just another person. I love the fact that at LifeVantage, we have developed multiple committees. We've developed multiple committees with an effort to hear more from you. We have recognition committees. We have diversity committees. We have compensation plan committees. We have every kind of committee, and they are all comprised of elite distributors in the field and corporate executives, so that the field and the corporate team are talking every single week, and we are hearing what it is that you are dealing with, because we understand, after spending a lifetime in this space, that it is you that is building this business, not us. We're not the ones telling you how to do things. We are the ones here to support you in the growth of what it is that you want to do with your lives. And that was something very different for me. The third thing that I needed was field culture. Because again, I don't care how good your products are. I do not care how good your corporate structure is. If your field culture is built on a house of cards, the company is going to go nowhere. What I found at LifeVantage, because LifeVantage, as you know, is over 12 years old at this point. They have withstood the test of time. When most network marketing companies fail in the first 3 to 5 years, LifeVantage is still here over a decade later. And a lot of that is because of the field culture. And let me tell you why. I studied this for a long time to understand why this is. At LifeVantage, 90+% of the elite distributors are first-time network marketers. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. 90% of those in this company that are making $10,000 a month or more have never done network marketing before in their lives. I'm looking right now at Marcy Nettles, who had an unbelievable career in her life, saved people's lives. I mean, she's incredible. Stories that would blow your mind in her life. And now she's here again, saving people's lives, changing people's lives, but thank God hers isn't at risk now. The culture of LifeVantage is built on family, philanthropy, and trust. Family being that there's one thing that I really, really love about LifeVantage, and that is in most companies that I've represented in the past, there's a lot of animosity between different organizations. It's kind of like, this is my team, that's your team. You stay over there in your team, don't come to my trainings, I won't come to yours. At LifeVantage, it is like an interwoven web where everyone is connected to everyone else, and there is such synergy to be able to reach out to whatever cross line for whatever media that you might be able to find benefit from. So the field culture, like I was saying, is very big. Family was number one. Philanthropy. This is a company that dedicates, they don't just dedicate, because every network marketing company says the same thing, right? We're going out there and changing the world by helping people live a healthier, more financially independent life, whatever it might be. Every network marketing company can say they're uplifting and doing great things. LifeVantage takes it one step further. Now we have a foundation. It's called the LifeVantage Legacy Foundation. And one thing that really struck a chord with me when it came to LifeVantage is the fact that this company has dedicated so many resources to ensuring that everywhere we go as a company, we do something together to make that place better. So every vacation we go on, every incentive trip, every promotion trip, everything we go and do. Let me give you an example. We went to the Bahamas. We took over 750 distributors down to the Bahamas. It was an amazing incentive trip. And I would guarantee that the most impactful part of that trip for everyone that went was the day that we got to spend working with the largest Bahamian orphanage on the island. Or when we went over to Ireland, and took a few hundred distributors on an amazing incentive trip again over to Ireland, bucket list trip. You guys, they were staying in castles. It was unbelievable. But I guarantee you, if you ask anyone that went on that trip, what was the most amazing part? And I can tell you it was for me. It was the day that we got to spend sewing hypoallergenic superhero wigs for children that were suffering from leukemia in the Dublin hospital. It was a mixture in that room of I'm wanting to cry right now, of tears and laughter because you were having so much fun as a family, but then you would stop and realize that you were creating something so beautiful for a child that was suffering, that had done nothing wrong. And it was such a collective moment where we could come together and we were able to do something really, really good that brought a lot of hope and a lot of happiness to a lot of people that we will never meet in our entire lives. And that, for me, is what LifeVantage culture is all about. That's what we stand for. And that was something different. When the whole network marketing space wants to focus on bikinis and Lamborghinis and big stacks of cash and all that stuff, we focus on family. When the hurricane hit, some of you might not be aware in some parts of the world that there was a massive hurricane on the East Coast down in New Orleans. We have a lot of our distributors living down there. Within 48 hours, we had handfuls of our distributors flying down there, showing up, buying generators, taking boats because they couldn't take the roads to get to certain people's houses to go and make sure that they were safe and taken care of. This family, LifeVantage, shows up. The fourth thing that I needed was opportunity. Now, I don't talk about compensation plans much because every company has one and everybody says that theirs is the best. But what I will say is that on average, LifeVantage pays out between 48.7 and 49.4% month over month on our compensation plan, making it, from what I've been able to find, the highest paying compensation plan in the entire profession of network marketing. And go ahead and try to find where someone else pays more. I'll look at it. But I have studied. When it comes to opportunity, I've also noticed that LifeVantage is not a binary compensation plan. I've studied compensation plans for most of my life, and binary is a compensation plan that traditionally you can make a lot more money quickly, but it's very hard to find consistent long-term legacy positions in binary opportunities, where you see those long-term legacy businesses that get passed down. Those are usually those unilevel or some form of a hybrid unilevel compensation plan. LifeVantage has one of the most genius compensation plans I've ever seen in my entire life. It pays almost more fairly than it should. It is so incredible. When it comes to my fifth and final thing that I needed was timing. I think you all know we're in a place right now in the world where it's just different. It's just different than it was. We keep saying that to each other. We keep telling each other, it's just different. It is what it is. It's going to get back to normal. I think we're in this really incredible place right now. And, for as much negativity as is going on in the world, what I know about network marketers, what I know about LifeVantage specifically, is we are hope brokers. We deal in hope. We deal in the light, not the darkness. And there's so many people right now in the dark. There are so many people right now not knowing what this next year is going to look like for them and their families. It's not easy. Network marketing isn't easy. It's very simple. The steps of network marketing are very simple, but it's not easy. If you're willing to step in here, the timing has never been better. If you are coachable, if you are hungry, if you believe that you're meant to be doing more on this earth than you have done up to this point, that you've always felt it like, man, I've just been waiting. This is it. This is your time. This is your wake-up call. Because when this market opens, there is just going to be so much opportunity. There's so many people in the Philippines market that will be blessed by what we have. After I saw that LifeVantage had everything that it was that I was looking for, I obviously decided to come on. And as Josie said, I have come on as the Director of New Leader Experience. My job is to work in what we call our Red Carpet Program. The Red Carpet Program is a specific support program, an onboarding program, if you will, for seasoned network marketing professionals, those that have achieved a level of success in our profession. We have an incredible support program for them. When I tell you that this program is like nothing you've ever seen before in regards to a red carpet program, we do not buy leaders. We do not do upfront money. We don't do any of those behind closed doors deals that other companies do. At LifeVantage, we offer support. We offer guidance. We offer real things that real leaders need in order to build real long-term organizations. And so as you enter into the Philippines, know that this red carpet program is accessible to you. We have amazing leaders like Kai Hayes. Kai is incredible. She already has some incredible red carpet leaders lined up in this marketplace, ready to launch as soon as we're going. So know that the leaders are there. Like Josie said, the Philippines is filled with network marketing professionals. And let me be honest, I know that this is a call for the Philippines, but for any of you that are not in the Philippines, know that this is equally an opportunity in France, in Germany, in UK, in Japan, in Netherlands, in Thailand, in Taiwan, in Malaysia, in Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, Canada. I could go on, ladies and gentlemen. The time is now. The world is in need of what we have. I have been here for 4 years, and the 5 things that I just described to you, I have never felt stronger about them than I do now, 4 years in to what we have been doing. LifeVantage is on a cusp of going on a huge run. A lot of you have heard me say this, and I'm going to end with this. There's an amazing, I've been witness to some amazing surfers in my life, incredible surfers. One thing that I know about momentum is it's a lot like surfing. If you've ever watched someone surf before, you know that it's impossible for that person to stand up on that surfboard and ride that wave if they start paddling when the wave is directly underneath them. If you wait for the wave of momentum to show up, you're going to miss it. Every good surfer, just like every network marketing professional that understands momentum, understands this. The only way that you are ever going to catch the wave of momentum, to be able to stand up on that amazing wave, is if you have the cognizant awareness to look over your shoulder. Like the amazing leaders on this call, like Josie. I'm going to talk about Josie in a minute. But you need to look over your shoulder, metaphorically, like I'm telling you to do right now, and see that this wave is coming, and then do what every good surfer that has ever ridden a wave before knows to do. And that is to paddle with all-out massive action before the wave gets to you. It is the only way that you will ever have the ability to stand up and ride it, is if you give the massive all-out action. You get so uncomfortable, you give it everything you have, and that is what gives you the energy, the momentum to run into 2022 on that wave. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your time. It's your year. And I am so flipping excited for every single one of you. I want to take another couple minutes here as I wrap this, and I want to talk about Josie. I want to talk about the leadership that she has been able to create since coming on board. I know that she said she's only been here for 2 years, maybe a little bit longer, but what I'll tell you is, you rarely get to find a leader like Josie. You rarely get to find someone that you get in your organization that gets it on so many levels. Not only is she unbelievably professional, which every one of you have seen, but she has a heart that is unmatched. She genuinely cares about everyone that comes into our organization. She wants to lead, not for the reason of her own growth and her own rank advancement, because she loves seeing people win. Every success story is one more story that fills her heart up a little bit bigger. I've been so honored to be able to work with her for the last 2 years. And I just want you to know that if you are here as a result of an invitation by her or from someone on her team, then you could not be in a better place. Josie, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for inviting me on this call. I know that you and this whole team have done so much to put all this together. There's so much work that has gone into this. I mean, for all of the elites on this call, for every single one of you that have had a hand in this launch, in all of this amazing energy that's going on, just know that my heart is with you. I am grateful for you. I am standing right beside you. I am your biggest fan. And with that, I want you guys to buckle up, because what comes next after me is like the piece de la resistance, the creme de la creme. You are going to get the one and only hot tamale. I'm not going to steal his introduction from Josie, but get your notepads ready and get ready to be excited, because what he has created, I need you guys to know, no other companies have what we have because of Kamal Thoda. What he has done is single-handedly come and create a team. And I know he will always give credit to his team, but what he has done with his team has delivered us something that I believe is unmatched, untouched within the space of network marketing. And I hope that every one of you chooses to take advantage of it. So with that, Josie, thank you so much. And I wish you guys the most amazing weekend ahead. Bless you.
Well, thank you so much for that, Taylor. Can you feel it? Can you feel we are going into momentum? So this is the time to buckle up and ride the wave, so that by the 3rd of November, you are ready. Everybody's ready. So thank you so much for that, Taylor. You have inspired me. So let's head over back to Salt Lake City, and we're gonna hear from Kamal. So Kamal came into LifeVantage and changed the digital space of our business. So Kamal is the Senior Vice President for Digital. And a little bit about Kamal. He is a digital transformation and user experience leader, passionate about driving the organization growth from digital vision, strategy, and execution. He has over 21 years of experience in leading teams to deliver award-winning digital solutions using modern web, app, and cloud technologies and infrastructures. He has a bachelor's and master's degree in computer science. He's not new to network marketing and has created multiple apps and provided digital transformation services for other network marketing companies. He has won a variety of awards for his work, including being recognized nationally as one of the top 50 tech leaders. He has been with LifeVantage for just under 2 years. He's excited and committed to continue building the next gen digital solutions, including the LV app, by working closely with the field. I know that Kamal has made huge changes and in the way we do business. And as we move to the Philippines, you know, like I have a list to say to people, this is what makes LifeVantage different. And I know that with the app, Kamal, what you have created in your team, it's going to be a game changer in the country. So over to you.
Josie, thank you so much. What a great evening it has been. First of all, good morning in Philippines. Kumusta? Hopefully I'm saying it in the right way. How are you guys doing? Kumusta ka? So good to see some of the familiar names here, the elites, as well as Josie and a corporate team, and some of the new names here. Super excited for the Filipino market. And you heard from the best of the best, Dr. Brian Dixon, about the product. And then Tyler, he is awesome. He talked about the 5 things. One of it is the field leadership, as well as the products and the corporate. And I am here to share some of the digital technologies, especially the app. So there is a reason why I am in the car today. Unfortunately, we don't have an internet service at home. So I am here at the city building in the car, connecting to the 5G network. So, so that's why I'm here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the camera here, and I will be sharing my screen, my phone screen, and just show you a few things in the app that can help you start building your business. And there is a reason why we have created a mobile app for you, because we want to make things simpler so that you can be anywhere and you can manage your business. You can build your business. Example, let's take what Dr. Brian Dixon was talking about just a few minutes ago about.
Are you showing a slide? Sorry, Kamal. Are you showing slides?
No, I am not because
Oh,
I'm in the
okay.
car, but
Sorry.
I'm going to share my screen here so that
Okay.
I can show you. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
Excellent. So there is a reason why we created a mobile app. We want you to build the business from anywhere. And Dr. Brian Dixon talked about the product strength. And then also, while he was talking about it, he addressed the disruptive innovation. If we take companies like Uber, Netflix, they transform their businesses with apps so that you can watch movies from anywhere, you can get the rights from anywhere. Similar concept even with LifeVantage app. We want you to build your business from anywhere easily. So we created this app with intuitiveness. That being said, there are 4 main systems that LifeVantage is providing you. One, the website, a LifeVantage website. The second one is your back office. And then we have artificial intelligence system. And then we have the app. All from back office, from web, and using the artificial intelligence, we brought in some of the core functionalities into the app and then added some of the business building features in the app itself so that it is going to be your digital assistant and also your customer relationship management tool. The first thing, because most of you, when you come into LifeVantage the next month, you have to download the app. So I want to show you how you can do that because that is the first step. Right now I'm using iOS phone, so I'm going to open up the App Store. So in the App Store, I will go and click on the search and I will search for LifeVantage. As you see, as I type LifeVantage, it just shows up, and then the 5-star app that you are seeing on the top, the LifeVantage app, that's the one that you should be downloading. Where you see the cloud download icon, if you don't have the app, it would say download. So tap on it and download the app. Once you have the app downloaded, it will be on somewhere on your phone. Open it up and then use your master account. I'm going to use one of my test accounts. And I'm logging in. This is your master distributor ID and then the password. Once you are here, the first one you see is a deck. The deck consists of your action cards. It tells you what to do next. For example, I have a test app so that I can show you some test cards. Do you see in the LifeVantage test app, there is a 9 in the red color badge? That means I have 9 action cards that I haven't opened. So when you log in, you come here, and as you see here, these are action cards. And here it will tell you what to do next. Because if you are logging in for the very first time, you can watch the introduction video from Justin. Okay, and you can create your public profile. As you see here, you can go, you can swipe up, you can swipe down to navigate from one action card to another action card. The purpose again is what Taylor was saying earlier, which is timing. We want to make sure that you follow up with your leads, your customers, and your downline in a timely manner. So the action cards will be shown to you and it will prompt you to take the actions in a timely manner. So I'm going to go back to the main app. And I'm going to show you quickly the navigation here. When you click on the LifeVantage icon, you get here, you can see that we have all the business building features on the top, adding the prospect, sharing a sample, sharing a cart, and sending an enrollment link. This is how you recruit your customers and distributors. And when I click add prospect, you can either import the contact from your device, or you can add a contact manually. So once you click add manually, it is going to show this. You can enter a first name, last name, and we can select a country. Once we go live, you would be able to pick Philippines. And we can enter the phone number. If you don't have a phone number, that's okay. You can enter email. Even if you don't have email, that's okay. But if you are prospecting on a social channels, you can go on and add a social media. We support Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Twitter, TikTok, Telegram, and Line. So you can add a contact. For the time, I'm not going to do that. After you do that, your contact will be added under prospects. These are your invites. Around 1.5 years ago or 2 years ago, LifeVantage has introduced a concept called a framework called ITT. So I stands for invite, T stands for tool, and another T stands for team. So what this means is you start a conversation with someone, you invite them to watch the first touch video or your own story or your own video or someone else's video, and then you walk them through the ITT by moving them from invite to tools. In the tool, you will be sharing more information about products and business opportunity, and you educate them. And later on, you move them to the team and you bring in your upline or your influencer, whoever you feel comfortable in talking to your prospect. So the ITT system is going to help you with that. So I'm going to quickly show how a contact will look like. So once you add a contact, this is the contact details page. You can click info and you can see the information about this particular contact. Okay, and then you can see the Facebook ID and other social channels, and you can see the activity, what activity has been performed by me with this particular prospect. And then I have the next step where I can, as you see next to my name, it says invite. That means this particular contact is in a invite mode, so I can start initiating the conversation. Because now the preferred communication channel is Facebook, that's why it's asking me to open that. But if I want to choose a text message, it will be sending the text message from my phone number to Kamal Tota, who is a prospect here. So we have multiple ways you can communicate, and you can set the preferred communication here. So this is the ITT. Let's say, for example, let me change it. Okay, so now it is sending me the message. Okay.
Kamal, you are the host, so I cannot mute Eleanor. Eleanor, can you mute yourself? I made your host, sorry. Thank you. Kamal, are you there?
Oh, dia dah suku.
Rachel, sorry, Marisha. Kamal, I've made you a host, and so many people have unmuted themselves. Kamal.
Kamal, can you hear us?
Miss Marcia, are you able to take the hosting back?
Oh, sorry,
Maybe we've
no.
lost
Mr.
contact.
Mead. Yeah, okay. Anyway, thank you guys. I just want to appreciate Kamal's effort today because there has been some service interruptions in their home and it's not back yet. When we were testing earlier, he actually has driven far just to get a good reception for this training. So that was really a good effort on his part. So hopefully he will be back, but while waiting, we have, I've seen that earlier we are 220 strong on this call. I would like to thank all our leaders who are continuously supporting our preparations for the launch, especially for events like this. Like we have Dr. Brian Dixon for us, giving us more information about our products, the difference of our products. Taylor Worry, of course, it's very important that he is there supporting us because his expertise really is developing new leadership on the field. And of course, Kamal, he has one very important aspect of our business, especially now that we have to turn into digital, into the digital phase, because face-to-face interactions will really be taking long to get to go back in place. But anyway, thank you everyone for attending this today. Tita Josie, if you have some more things to say.
That's it. So we're gonna send the recording.
Yes, we are going to send the recording. So we will be doing our regular Wednesday Philippine overview, and next week that will be with Pro for Beth Busad, Wednesday 7 p.m. Philippine time. Please invite your prospects, and please also join us next Friday for our second part of the Leaders Crew meeting. We will be announcing the mechanics of our promotions and what we have prepared for you from month 1 to month 6 before our grand launch for the Philippines. Please join us, especially those who are really aiming to become Philippine founders. And of course, our how to become international Philippine founders. We recognize the efforts of all our international leaders who has been helping us in preparing for the launch and building the market as early as now. I know we have been having a lot of activities. A lot of you has not even showed the activities online yet because they prefer to do it on the ground with their different teams. But really appreciate all the efforts, guys. Thank you for joining us today, and see you in our next meetings.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
And
much.
Josie, thank you
Thank you
again
again
for
for
organizing all of this.
organizing all of this.